I'm sure you have often heard from politicians, from educators, from your parents, and from the public that you are the coming generation. But when they talk about you as a new generation, they really do not mean it, because they make sure that you conform to the older pattern of society. They really do not want you to be new, different kind of human being. They want you to be mechanical, to fit in with tradition, to conform, to believe, to accept authority. In spite of this, if you can actually free yourself from fear, not theoretically, not ideally, not merely outwardly, but actually inwardly, deeply, then you can be a different human being. Then you can become the coming generation. The older people are ridden with fear. Fear of death, fear of losing jobs, fear of public opinion. They are completely held in the grip of fear. So their gods, their scriptures, their pujas are all within the field of fear, and therefore the mind is curiously warped, perverted. Such mind cannot think straight, cannot reason logically, sanely, healthily, because it is rooted in fear. Watch the older generation and you will see how fearful it is of everything, of death, of disease, of going against the current of tradition, of being different, being new. Fear is what prevents the flowering of the mind, of flowering, of goodness. Most of us learn through fear. Fear is the essence of authority and obedience. Parents and governments demand obedience. There is the authority of the book, the authority according to Sankara, Buddha, the authority according to Einstein. Most people are followers. They make the originator into an authority, and through propaganda, through influence, through literature, they imprint on the delicate brain the necessity of obedience. What happens to you when you obey? You cease to think. Because you feel that the authorities know so much, are such powerful people, have so much money, can turn you out of the house because they use the words and duty, love and intent. You succumb, you yield, you begin to obey, and become a slave to an idea, to an impression, to influence. When the brain is conforming to a pattern of obedience, it is no longer capable of freshness, no longer capable of thinking simply and directly. Know now, is it possible to learn without authority? Do you what learning is? Acquiring knowledge is one thing, but learning is an altogether different thing. A machine can acquire information like a robot or like an electronic computer. A machine acquires knowledge because it is being fed certain information. It gathers more and more information, which then becomes knowledge. It has the capacity to acquire information, store it, and respond when it is asked a question. On the other hand, when the human mind can learn, then it is capable of more than just acquiring and storing up. But there can be learning only when the mind is fresh, when it does not say, "I know." So one must differentiate separate learning from acquiring knowledge. Acquiring knowledge makes you mechanical, but learning makes the mind very fresh, young, subtle. And you cannot learn if you are merely following the authority of knowledge. Most educators, right through the world, are merely acquiring and imparting knowledge, and so are making the mind mechanical and incapable of learning. You can only learn when you do not know. Learning only comes into being when there is no fear and when there is no authority. Subject without authority and therefore without fear? Fear is the question is, how do you teach mathematics or any other essentially involved in competition? Whether it is competition in a class or competition in life. To be afraid of being nobody, of not arriving, of not succeeding, is at the root of competition. When there is fear, you cease to learn. And so it seems to me that it is the function of education to eliminate fear, to see that you do not become mechanical and at the same time to give you knowledge. To learn without becoming mechanical, which means to learn without fear, is a complex issue. It involves the elimination of all competition. In this process of competition you conform, and gradually you destroy the subtlety, the freshness, the youth of the brain. But you cannot deny knowledge. So, is it possible to have knowledge and yet learn to be free from fear? Do you see this? When do you learn most? Have you ever watched yourself learning? Try to watch yourself sometimes and observe yourself learning. You learn most when you have no fear, when you are not threatened by authority, when you are not competing with your neighbor. Then your mind becomes extraordinarily alive. So the issue for the teacher and the issue for you as a student is to learn without authority, to acquire knowledge without perverting or dulling the brain, and to eliminate fear. Do you see the problem? To learn there must be no conformity, no authority, and yet you must acquire knowledge. To combine all this without distorting the brain is the problem. So that when you grow older, when you pass your examinations and marry, you meet life with a freshness, without fear. Then you are learning about life all the time, not merely interpreting life according to your pattern. Life. Then there is the man who voluntarily gives up riches, lives a very simple life, who is anonymous, does not want to be known, does not proclaim that he is a saint. That is also part of life. Then there is the man who wants to become a hermit, a sannyasi. And there is also the man who becomes a devotee, who does not want to think, who just blindly follows. That is also part of life. Then there is the man who carefully, logically, sanely thinks, and finding that such thoughts are limited goes beyond thought. That is also part of life. And death is also a part of life, the loss of everything. Belief in the gods and goddesses, in saviors, in paradise, in hell, is a part of life. It is a part of life to love, to hate, to feel jealous, to feel greedy, and it is also part of life to go beyond all these trivial things. It is no good growing up and accepting one part of life, the mechanical part concerned with acquiring knowledge, which is to accept the pattern of values created by the past generation. Your parents happen to have money, they send you to school and married, then to college. They see that you have a job. Then you get, and that is the end of it. All this is only a small, but there is this vast field of life, an incredibly vast field, to understand which there must be no fear, and that is very difficult. Segment of life. One of the more vital issues in life is the fact that one withers away, disintegrates. Fear and deterioration are related. As you grow older, unless you solve the problem of fear as it arises, immediately, without carrying it over to tomorrow, the deteriorating factor sets in. It is like a disease, like a wound which festers, destroys. Fear of not getting a better job, of not fulfilling yourself, eat into your capacity, your sensitivity, your intellectual moral fiber. So the solving of the problem of fear and the factor of deterioration are related. Try and find out what you are afraid of, and see if you cannot go beyond that fear, not verbally, not theoretically, but actually. Do not accept authority. Acceptance of authority is obedience, which only breeds further fear. How will you find opinion, public opinion being what your friends think of you? Out about fear? Are you afraid of public? Most of us, especially while we are young, want to look alike, dress alike, talk alike. We do not want to be even slightly different, because to be different implies not to conform, not to accept the pattern. When you begin to question the pattern, there is fear. Now examine that fear, go into it. Do not say, I am afraid, and run away from it. Look at it, face it, find out why you. So fear is always in time, because time is thought. To eliminate fear, you have to consider thought as time and then inquire into this whole process of thinking. It is a little bit difficult. I am afraid of my parents, my society, of what they will say tomorrow or 10 days later. My thinking about what might happen projects fear. So can I say, I am going to look at that fear now, not 10 days later? Can I invite what they are going to say in the present and look at it, and if they happen to be right, can I accept if? Why should I be frightened? And if they are wrong, I also accept that. Why should they not be wrong? Why should I be frightened? And I will listen to the teacher to learn, but I am not going to be frightened. So when I face fear, it goes away. But to face fear, I have to inquire, which is quite a complex process because it involves the problem of time. You know, there are two kinds of time: time by the watch, the next minute, tonight, the day after tomorrow, and there is another kind of time which is created by the psyche inside one, by thought. I shall be a great man. I shall have a job, and I shall go to Europe. That is the psychological future, in time and space now. To understand chronological time by the watch, and to understand time as thought, and to go beyond both, is really to be free of fear.